Hi, Andy Bryan, sales engineer for brewing and distilling at RMS Roller Grinder. A lot of the big houses, they're very good on consistency of what they're providing. But probably the thing you find the biggest issue is the transportation and handling of it after that fact. So by the time they mill it, it might be milled exactly right. By the time it gets to you, it's been handled, bags have been thrown onto trucks or different forms of transportation. And so you might get some breakdown of the grain by the time you receive it at your location. So that's probably the biggest thing I hear from customers is, that the grain has too many fines in it or it's not milled exactly the way they want it. And that's usually the cause of it is just the handling and transportation. So most of the customers we're working with, they have a strong feeling that milling the grain and using it in a very short time period, definitely less than a week, in a couple of days, they feel that the quality, the flavor that you get from the malt is much, much better. I know that the malt houses have done testing and they strongly believe that the way they bag the grain, it will maintain all of its qualities for up to a year. And so it just comes down to an individual preference. Some people just don't agree that you can mill it and have it that long. And so if you have your own mill, you're in control of that. How long before you use the grain after you mill it? So the big reason you want to be able to mill your own product is that you can adjust for any factors that you might run into. Everybody's seen from year to year grain size, the barley size will change based on the weather, moisture, different conditions that affect them. And so if you're in control of that, you can notice that, you can adjust. Once again, like I said, the big malt houses, they're going to make adjustments. But again, then you have that step of trying to get the grain to you where things can be broken down. And so the more things you can control, the better product you're going to have. So the big thing you're going to run into is if the grain's not milled properly, you're not going to recover all of the starches that are in it. And so you'll see that show up in your efficiency, in your brew house efficiency. And so what ends up happening is you're basically just wasting grain. So if you've got a batch that typically requires 1,000 pounds of grain, you might end up having to run 1,050. And so that's another bag of grain that you paid for, and you're not getting extra beer liquid product out of it for that cost. So that's why it's very important to have that control. So if you see something going on, you can make adjustments on the fly or much quicker than reaching out to a supplier that you got grain from a month ago or whatever. So the big thing when I talk to customers is once they get things set up and they're running good, they have good efficiency, then they can go in and make slight tweaks. So they might change the adjustment a couple thou on the gap. And then they can see if that changes the efficiency. And so they're just fine tuning. And if you're buying your grain pre-milled, you don't have that ability to do that. And so they're taking that opportunity to try to make their process even better. And because they have control of their milling, that is wide open for them to make adjustments, make it bigger, make it smaller, and find out where the sweet spot is for their brew house. Because every brew house is going to be different with all the different grains. So yeah, doing your own milling, that is something that is a personal choice. And one of the ways we help customers out is by answering their questions, talking to them, giving them our feelings, our advice, things that they should look for. One big thing is, does it make sense? Does it pay for itself? A lot of people starting up don't have the cash for a mill. And so one of the tools we supply our prospects or customers is a calculator that does a return on investment. So they can put in the prices of the grain they're buying, if it's pre-milled, if it's raw, and then they can run the calc and determine, yeah, it makes sense to buy it now, or maybe it doesn't. Maybe I need to grow to a bigger output, and then it would make sense. And so then they could plan ahead for it by knowing that, hey, when I get to 5,000 barrels, I need to quit buying pre-milled and I need to mill my own. So we try to provide tools, try to provide knowledge so that customers can make an educated decision on whether they should mill or not.